Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got an interesting show for you. We're actually going to answer a question. This is all about Georgia and Bama dominating the All-SEC preseason honors. That's a shock. And the big question is, how much does it even matter? And the reason I bring this up, we were in a very similar situation last year. We didn't have a ton of guys on the, I think we might have had one person. I'll show you the first team last year, second team and all that, and I'll show you this year's. But it's not like we were, dominating the preseason All-SEC last year either. Yet we finished 11-2, and at one point in time we were number one in the country when we were 8-0. So how important is this? It matters, but you still got to play the game.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
And right here in 2023 preseason Coaches All-SEC, it's the Coaches All-SEC. They obviously voted on it. And the Bulldogs in Alabama finished tied for the most preseason All-SEC selections. And they had, I believe it was 14 each for the three preseason teams. So they had 14 each, and the LSU Tigers had 11. It's what happens when you have a great recruiting base and a great recruiting footprint. You get these great athletes. But if you've noticed, Tennessee is on the ascension when it comes to recruiting. Just picked up our second five-star, Jordan Ross, 2 days ago. And, of course, Mike Matthews, five-star wide receiver. Last year we got Nico, the number one player in the country. Also David Hobbs, a five-star. So that's 4. And on top of that, a ton of 4-stars that we've gotten the last 2 years. So I feel really good about where we're headed. And I'm not terribly concerned about these preseason polls, but we're going to look at them. And Georgia had 10 of their 14 selections on the first team, which is ridiculous. LSU had 6 first-team selections, and Alabama had 5. Those 3 teams totally dominated. And we'll start out here with the quarterback position. They put Jaden Daniels of LSU, and then Judkins, the running back at Ole Miss. He's probably the best running back in the country, possibly. And we've got 3 really good ones, but they're not going to wind up on this preseason because I think they're going to split up the yards really well between them. So we're going to have a ton of yardage, but it's going to be between 3 guys, whereas Judkins pretty much gets the ball most of the time. But you can see here, Georgia is just all across the board here, wide receiver, tight end, of course, Brock Bowers. I think that's certainly fair. And all down the line, here's all the offensive lines, center. I mean, Georgia's got a heck of an offensive line. And here's the first team defense. LSU, Georgia, LSU, Alabama, LSU, Georgia. I mean, good grief. There's one player that isn't those 3 teams, and that's Dwight Gloughlin, George McFly, I don't know, from Arkansas, and that's the only one. So they totally dominate defense. And then in special teams, Alabama. South Carolina's got a couple of special teamers on the first team. Then they go into the second team. Brew McCoy did make the second team as wide receiver. Let's see if any other Tennessee guys are on here. I'm surprised Cooper Mays is not on this list. That's very surprising on the second team offense for linemen. Then nobody on the defense. Third team offense, Javontes Spraggins, offensive lineman. And then there's Cooper Mays on the third team. And then nobody on the third team on the defense. And again, it wasn't that much different. What we have 3 guys on there. It wasn't that much better last year going into preseason. I think Hendon Hooker was second team, and we'll take a look at that. And we had a couple other guys, but it's not like we were loaded up. We went into it with just a certain number on there, and that was it. I don't think we had but 1 guy on the first team last year, and that was, well, let's take a look. Of course, they had Bryce Young as the quarterback, and Tank Bigsby at Auburn. Remember him? Brock Bowers, of course, all down the line there. And then, that Jalen Carter. I swear if it wasn't for him, man, he made a big difference in that game. Byron Young did manage to be on the first team. He was our only one last year, and he had a solid year in the NFL now. So we had 1 guy. And then here's Hendon Hooker, second team. And we had Cedric Tillman, who got hurt because of Akron. And then Darnell Wright, who he should have been first team, obviously, given how he played. He made Will Anderson disappear. And then we didn't have anybody on second team defense. And this is last year again. And we didn't have anybody on third team offense. Well, wait a minute. Cooper Mays. And let's see. We had Jeremy Banks, who is a very good player, but man, he caused some issues. And then Trayvon Flowers, who was a solid defensive back. And we did have a punter. So not much difference really, with the exception of probably Hendon Hooker. And I think you can just go ahead and tell we're going to have some postseason All-SEC players for certain. I think Dante Thornton, Squirrel White, Brew McCoy have a fantastic shot at it. The problem with our running backs, we have so many good running backs that they're going to split up the yardage so much that probably one won't stand out. But we're going to have a ton of yards running. I don't think there's any question. And then the big question is Joe Milton. If Joe Milton winds up postseason All-SEC something, whether it's first, second, or third team, we're going to be very difficult to beat. That's going to be the key guy. Now, he's got all the skills in the world. Can he put it together? He started showing signs of that last year in the Orange Bowl. If he can start playing like that, and if he can run the ball. You know, he's lost 10 pounds, and he looked pretty fleet-footed in that spring game, and he looks like he wants to run. If he becomes a dual-threat quarterback, he'll go first-round NFL. You can count on it because he's got the arm. But NFL wants dual-threat guys. They want guys that can run. And if you don't think so, look at Kansas City, look at Philadelphia, look at Anthony Richardson going did he go number 4 in the country? Did he go number 4 or something? It was either 4 or 5. You know, he threw for 50%. They want guys that can run, and Joe Milton starts running the ball. Every NFL team will be looking at him that needs a quarterback. So while it certainly does matter, you know, it would be nice to have a bunch of All-SEC preseason guys. When it's all said and done, you got to go play the game. And last year we were in a very similar situation. We had a small number of guys that were preseason All-SEC, whether it was first team, second team, or third team, mainly second and third. And that's about where we are now. It's going to matter once you get out on the field. And there's a bunch of guys laying in wait at UT that I think will wind up being All-SEC postseason. I have very little doubt of that when they start putting up those gaudy numbers that we do. And I think our defense is going to be much improved. The big question is Joe Milton and the offensive line. Having Cooper Mays out possibly for a couple of weeks is a bit of a problem. We need him there, but that might actually work to our favor because we're getting other guys ready to go, and they're getting a lot of valuable snaps. Cooper Mays doesn't need a ton of snaps. He knows exactly what to do. He just needs to be healthy. The other guys need snaps.
Okay.
Because playing center is the toughest position on the offensive line. You've got to call out all these different plays, and you've also got to hike the ball properly. So there's just the center has a lot on his plate. So it is good having some guys get those snaps because they might need them because what if Cooper goes down during the season? You know, you need somebody that can come in there and play well because it's not like we're playing in the ACC or the Big 12 or whatever the crap. We're in the SEC, which is the NFL G League, and you'd better be ready to go because you're going to be going up against Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M, Florida at the Swamp. I mean, it is what it is. And at this time, I do want to mention today's sponsor, and that's Sevierville Golf Club. This is the course that I play every week. I'm getting ready to play another tournament out there, a 4-man scramble. It'll be a lot of fun. And I just enjoy playing here. It's always in great shape. They really spend the money on it and keep it in excellent condition. They have 2 golf courses there. They have the River and they have the Highlands. The River's tough, and it'll get your attention. And then the Highlands is a little bit shorter, but look, you still got to play well on both those courses. There's a lot of water, there's a lot of trouble, but the course is in such good condition. If you hit a bad shot or whatever, that's on you. And they also have a great practice facility, which I use on a regular basis. If you want to work on any part of your game, including putting, chipping, anything like that, their practice facility is second to none. And if you ever want something to eat, you can just pop right into Mulligan's. They'll take good care of you there.
Do you have any 8s?
Don't you have homes?
And again, this thing's called Sevierville Golf Club, but realize it's open to the public. So anybody can play there. All you got to do is just pick up the phone, give them a holler, or you can book online. And if you do play there, be sure to tell them Sports Talk Jay sent you. And folks, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols and all this good stuff, SEC, you name it. And if you've not subscribed, it's on your right. Just hit that little button right there. Costs you nothing, not one dime, not even a nickel.
I got nickel.
Just hit that little button. And right over here's the most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll love based on your viewing history. And we will see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.